I'm not using woman as a sex classification.
The same reason we can't describe the color
hold on.
purple is not the
Stop.
reason why
Lav.
you can't describe what a woman is.
Stop, Lav. No. The reason you can't describe.
Why are you freaking out?
You think I'm
No, he's not
freaking
freaking
out?
out.
You
He's
think
not
I
freaking
sound
out.
like I'm freaking out right now?
Yes.
Even if I grant this, right? We'd have to like grant things like aseity and like other.
What do you mean? This is not.
Even if I
something that you
were to.
grant.
Oh yeah, you're right. It isn't something that I grant. It's stupid, right? It's a very stupid thing to say.
But that a woman.
What do you think capable means? Hold on. What do you think capable means? What does it mean?
Hold on. 0 is not the same as none. Okay. A fucking trans woman has none. Has no egg.
No capability of holding a large.
No,
substance.
zero actually.
0.
That's actually the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. 0 is the exact same as none.
No, it isn't.
No, those literally mean the same thing. I'm losing my mind. I'm actually going crazy.
Yeah, I think thinking that I think that gender is personality, and giving it any sort of merit is reinforcing patriarchal gender roles that hurt both men and women, and I think it's retarded. So I don't give it any merit. I don't believe in a trans person. I believe in a person who has identity problems and should probably receive like CBT and radically accept their bodies.
Yeah, so I guess I don't know. The problem with that is like we can say like it'd be an ideal world where like these terms mean nothing. Right, but the way that we get to that world isn't by telling people that lol these terms should mean nothing. And it certainly isn't like rejecting that people should be like.
I think that is the way that we get to it.
You think that the way that we get to it is like saying like shut the fuck up, lol. I'm not calling you like she her.
No, I think that the way that we get to it is saying that you don't have to. Is saying that trans women don't have to be women. You can be a trans woman. You can also just be a male who dresses however the fuck you want. It doesn't have to change.
The bad feeling that's associated, right? The bad feeling that's associated with that is the labeling, right? The categorization that they receive. It's not the They don't want to be identified as like, oh,
guys, I'm from DGG,
like...
and this conversation is not gonna fucking fly. Okay, I'm here to cancel you, and you've all been warned. All right, this is just a warning.
Oh shit! The DGG cops are here. All right, everybody shut the place
Everyone
down.
Scatter.
Everybody run.
Oh man.
No, but like I don't know. I feel like the way that you get these terms of meaningless is you just like say, oh, yeah, the way that we should like use the term woman is probably just gonna be like people who like identify with being wanting to be called woman.
Means biological female.
Yes, it just means biological.
Biological female.
You don't identify as a biological reality. You don't identify as black. You just are black.
We're not talking about. So when we say woman, the first thing I'm talking about is not. I'm referring to you by this because you
like
possess.
Fucking well thought out on all of these positions, crushing the shit out of everything. Well articulated. Why is she not in Destiny's position?
Okay, what a banger ass interjection. But no, when I say that like you're a woman, right? What I'm talking about, I'm not trying to describe the fact that like
when you say I'm a woman, you're saying that I'm a female. When you call a trans woman a woman, you are saying that because they exhibit the stereotypes of what a male projection of a woman is, that they are now classified as something other than their sex, and that is just not the reality.
No, that's not what I'm saying. When I'm calling a trans woman a woman, if that was the case, right, I just would not call non-passing trans people women, right? That's just not descriptively how I use the term. I don't really care to see how like either of us use the word. So what is a woman then? What I used it to mean is just anybody whose preferences are most maximized, all else equal, by being called a woman. Right.
Okay, but do you see how there cannot be multiple ways to become a biological reality, right? So a woman is not an idea. A woman is not an idea. A woman is a thing. A woman is our biological reality. It's the experience of biological females.
Yeah, it's just a really silly word game, right? Like what we're talking about when people say they're trans.
You're having the silly word game.
Yes, exactly.
No, I'm being very clear with the way I'm defining the word woman, right? I'm saying that
you're not being very clear.
No, you're not.
Convoluted.
Sorry, what do you think is convoluted about that?
Well, first of all, go ahead, give it. You said it was your definition again.
I said it was convoluted.
Sure.
It's convoluted, and I said weird.
Preferences are all else equal maximized by being called a woman. right?
Go ahead, say it
Woman's
one more
just a-
time. I'm sorry.
Okay, so but that's a so without using
I'm
a
sorry.
circular definition
That's not
and
circular.
saying woman in the descriptor,
Oh
have to
boy,
describe
Lav, you do
woman.
understand that's not circular, right? Do you understand what a
Can I-
use-mention distinction is?
It is circular.
wait,
No, it's
that
not.
that
You
is
guys don't-
actually the definition. That is
No.
the definition of a
No.
circular
You're
definition.
saying a woman is someone who's happy to be called
Hey.
a woman. How is that
Yeah.
not circular? You fucking idiot.
Because
literally-
you guys don't understand the basic philosophy of language. When we're talking
my
about
God.
the word, calm
No, we
down.
need more
No.
philosophy.
Please calm down.
Can I bridge a
Please
gap?
calm down. No, I don't need you
You
to bridge
don't
the gap right
understand the
now.
basic
Give me.
philosophy of
Please be
language.
quiet.
Calm
Stop,
down.
stop. God damn, holy shit. No, there's a difference between a use of a word, which invokes the usage of that word, and the mention of a word, right? Whenever I say, like, for example, cheese is derived from Latin, right? That's true because of a mention of the word, right? I'm talking about the mouth sound cheese, right? When I say cheese is derived from milk, that's true because of a use of the word. Right? This is the same reason, like, saying that the definition of somebody who's like a Jack is someone whose name is Jack, right? It's not a circular definition. It's not viciously circular.
Okay.
I'm about to call the
Okay,
fucking
Google this. Lose
Politics
mention distinction.
Okay, but Jack
That's
is
fine.
not a sex classification like woman.
I'm not using woman as a sex classification.
The same reason we can't describe
You-
the
no,
color
hold on.
purple
Stop,
is not the
stop.
reason why
Lab.
you can't describe what a woman is.
Stop, Lav. No. The reason you can't describe
Why are
probably
you freaking out?
Do you think I'm
No, he's not
freaking
freaking
out?
out.
You
He's
think
not
I
freaking
sound
out.
like I'm freaking out right now?
Yes.
No, I'm just asking
Okay.
you to
Little
stop because the way that I'm using the word woman isn't to describe sex, right? I'm talking about your claim that it was a circular
No, it
definition.
didn't.
We
That's
know
the
it's not a
problem.
circular definition
Most
yet,
people
right?
it is.
The problem is that
Real
you
quick,
are not.
real quick. I
is
want to
that
stay on
you
this
are
point for
making
1
up a
second.
definition of woman.
It's making. Yeah, that's what words are. They're made up, all right? We make up words. We don't get them
Okay,
from the
then
definition
nothing
tree.
matters. Then nothing matters.
That's
I'm
not true.
black.
That's not
There's
true
nothing
either.
You can do about
These
it.
these
I'm
are both
black,
true
I'm
statements.
76.
I'm-
Age is just a
Most
construct.
people,
Real
when they
quick,
use the word woman, are referring to a
I don't.
sexual-
Please,
are
just give me
most-
1
most
second.
people- hold on, no, you had 1 second. Most people
Yeah,
are
I-
referring to a
okay.
sexual classification. Most people are referring to a sexual classification
Okay,
when
that
they
is
say the word woman.
absolutely crazy, dog. Now, can we get to the point that, like, the definition is clearly not circular, right? We know
It
that
it
now.
is circular. You're
Oh.
saying the set of women is the same set as people who want to identify in the set of
Who
women.
want people
That's the
whose
definition of a
preferences-
circular definition.
So what do they? So what do
No.
they want to identify as?
They're just gonna
The
be.
set of women.
Yeah.
They don't want to identify as something. I'm sorry, that was in my definition, not what they want to identify as.
Okay, so what is your definition of woman?
My definition is a set of people, right? Any person who would be qualified within the set is going to be somebody whose preferences would be maximized, all else equal, so ceteris paribus, being called a, quote, woman.
Okay, so
Woman, the mouth sound. Do you
But
understand
what does
that?
it mean
The
to be called a
reference?
woman? It
So
means
It's
to
a
be a
mouth
member
sound.
of the set of women.
It's a mouth sound,
It's a mouth
dog.
sound. What? Oh
Yeah,
my
do you know what
God.
the mouth
You're
sound of
saying
woman
it just
is?
makes
Do you
people
know-
happy to hear the word woman.
Yeah, that's how I'm
That's
using it
what
in
a
my
woman is,
definition.
in
That's how I'm
relation
using
to
my-
them.
Yeah, that's how it's in relation to my definition. Yeah, in the same way that like the relation
Well,
to the
so-
word
so
Jack.
how
That's not
many-
even
how-
a
how
that's
many
not even a
genders are there then?
definition.
In the same way that the word
What if
Jack.
I'm really,
hold on.
what if
hold
I'm
on,
really, what,
hold
what if
on,
I'm really
hold
happy
on,
to be
hold
called a?
on. Stop.
Does that make me a?
Yeah, the definition is a blah,
Oh,
right?
oh, that's just as valid as a woman. So you're a gender abolitionist as well, then. Great.
Yes, exactly. That's actually the point I'm making. I'm saying that gender abolition is good,
Hey,
right?
so
In the way that
you're-
stop. Holy shit! I can't get a rebuttal out with one person because the
Yeah,
next
no,
person's
it's
so
okay.
horny to
You're
jump
writing a
on me the
fucking
next
book
time.
in here, dude.
Holy shit! No, I just let somebody else respond, and now I'm trying to respond
Male
to that.
hysteria,
I'm trying not to
am
have
I
the.
right?
Yeah, literally, I am having female hysteria.
right,
Okay,
go ahead.
I'm a trans.
It's a
You literally
male.
trans me.
Go ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. Holy shit! Oh my god! Thanks. Okay. So when we understand, you do understand the word Jack, right? Saying the word Jack in the definition of a person whose name is Jack, right? That's not circular, right? The definition of a Jack is just going to be someone whose
Okay, but
name
Jack is not something
Jack.
that can be. A Jack is not something that can be empirically tested as woman can, as female can.
As female
Yeah,
can.
you-
We're talking about the
Jack is
biological
so
reality, but the
stupid.
claim that trans people are making is not that they are this biological reality, right? That's like what they identify as
No,
trans.
but there,
Well,
no.
Jack-
What
Jack
trans people
is-
are saying is that there's a list of stereotypes in which we believe a woman is these things, and you can now perform these things and be a woman. That is literally what
No,
trans
that's
people are
what
saying.
some people like maybe these trans meds believe, right? That's not what I believe, right?
You just think that anyone can call themselves anything. You just believe in like, what are you,
Anyone
an
calls themselves
anarchist?
anything. Well, I don't see how that's doing anything with anarchy and the abolition of the state. No, I'm not an anarchist. No, I don't think that anybody can call themselves anything.
Then does anything?
In the case of the word, woman, that's the most useful term.
If someone can call themselves woman, then I can call myself black. I can call myself old.
You can call yourself black, right? But those are referring to things, the factors of the outside world. But I don't think the most useful definition of black is anybody who feels like they're black. Right? I think that's the most useful definition of the word woman.
I feel like I'm black.
Wait, how is that the most useful definition of the word woman?
Because there's no real downside to calling people that. There seems to be a large upside.
Yes, there is.
What do you think the downside is, Lav?
Wait,
who's echoing?
Miley, can you mute? Okay, I'll mute you.
The downside is that. Oh.
I got it. Go ahead.
The downside is that women are already a protected sex class, right? Because of the hundreds and hundreds of years of women being prey and subject to men's predatory behavior, there are certain reasons as to why they need to be a protected sex class in their own spaces, like jails or bathrooms or hospitals or
so when it comes to
whatever, and that isn't a really important distinction to make, especially because a lot of women feel really uncomfortable with the fact that anyone can call themselves a woman and enter those spaces. Like, I'm sorry, it doesn't, like, Leah Thomas being like, I'm a woman doesn't hold up when she's literally like a man.
Okay, well, so it's not the case that so I'm sorry, are we gonna do the thing where we like have a dog pile, one person puts out a point and the next person jumps on me as well?
Oh no, I've just been waiting to say something for like 10 minutes.
Okay, well, if it doesn't matter to anybody else in the VC, can I finish the conversation with Lav, and then I can do a whole Q&A where everybody asks me.
We will never finish this conversation. I have a feeling.
We're never gonna do it.
I have a feeling that we will not come to an agreement.
I don't think we're gonna come to agreement in the conversation, Lav. That's not my goal. My goal is to be like, oh well, here's an alternative viewpoint, and maybe like ponder it for a little bit, right?
I know the alternative viewpoint. I know what you're saying.
Well, you didn't seem to know it whenever you said it was a circular definition. It sounded like nobody had given you that argument before.
I hate when you act like we're so stupid we can't understand your nuanced fucking gender take, bro.
I mean, you guys couldn't understand that it wasn't a circular definition earlier. I wouldn't be surprised.
You have not understood what even a circular definition is.
No, you didn't. Right? This is a very well documented thing. Use mentioned distinction. Google it. Google use mentioned distinction. You're gonna realize how right I am and how mistaken you are on that topic. Okay?
How right you are? You're just so right.
Yes, on this topic, yes. Anybody who looks into it the slightest bit will understand how right I am on that. But
all right, you win, bro. Congratulations.
When it comes to the conversation
you won
about
all
like
of our
things
votes.
like
we will vote for trans rights because of your speech now.
That's crazy. You go out and you democratically elect trans rights as your president, buddy.
Yeah.
You go do that for me. I believe in you, bud. When it comes to like
definition, is it defining a term by using the term in the definition?
Yeah, using, not mentioning, right? Use mention distinction.
Water is water.
Yeah, you literally just proved my point by reading that out, Lav. Thank you.
A woman
I appreciate you. You're really great.
So if you say a woman is someone who identifies as a woman, the
burden
is on you to describe what a woman is.
That's not what I
said.
said.
Bunk, can you repeat your definition?
My definition wasn't a woman is somebody who identifies as a woman. I says a woman is someone who all else equals preferences are maximized by being called a woman. Those are different definitions. Those are different things. They mean different things.
I can accept that.
But being called a woman means nothing else than hearing the word woman.
That's my prescriptive definition. Yeah. If you want my descriptive definition, that's going to be a different definition, right? It's going to be different from Lav's prescriptive definition that she's giving.
Debate, broad.
Well,
Cool.
I think it's weird that you say you're a gender abolitionist, but you said there's no utility or there's no like consequence of calling someone woman or man.
No, there is a consequence to it, and that's why I think that mine has utility. Right? I'm a very hardline utilitarian. When it comes to
utilitarians, but go ahead.
Okay, well, you probably hate utilitarians because you're not very good at consequentialism, but we can get in that in some time, okay?
Smart.
Go ahead.
So when it comes to things like sports, for example, not everybody is included in sports, right? Not everybody who's a woman is included in sports. If a woman's on like PEDs, for example, human growth hormone, they're not going to be included in some sports. That's ideally what we'd have to be the case. There's not like a situation where somebody necessarily is included in sports because they're a woman. I think these are like different conversations to be had. I think you'd agree that these are probably different conversations to be had. Whenever it comes to things like prisons, for example, it seems to be there's some pretty large utility in allowing certain people to be classified into these prisons of the gender that they seem to identify with, as trans people are reported very, very highly for things like sexual assault, and not so much as for committing the sexual assault. It's actually, they're reported higher than cis women in these prisons, right? And there's a lot of data on this. I can send it over to you if you're curious, or you can take my word on that. With the hospitals point, I don't know why women need to be protected in hospitals. I actually have no idea where the fuck that is. I never heard that argument before in my life. But maybe I got a really good argument against that. I'm gonna be like shell shocked though. So
you were essentially just saying that there. Okay, so which is it? Are there consequences or are there not consequences?
There are consequences to the way that we use words. I don't think there's a good consequence to holding up like gendered terminology though. I don't think that's a good thing.
Okay,
seems to be pretty bad.
What is the way that so aside from I guess personal like validation, personal happiness, is that the main like mechanism behind using these terms in the way that you
oh yeah, of course. That's the way that we use all terms, right? The way that we justify all terms usages because they're useful to humanity.
So
and the usefulness comes from the preferential experience.
You're kind of a steamroller, but is
oh, I'm sorry. I was trying to give an in-depth answer to the question. My apologies.
Yeah,
In my opinion, I thought I was getting like dogpiled by like 3 different people in the VC, so it's kind of right that I'm steamrolling.
Yeah, I feel sorry for you. You'll win the argument that way.
Oh, I'm just pointing it out. Okay, I'm just saying. Like early in the conversation, I had like one person giving me an argument, and then another person would chime in, and another person would chime in after that. So I mean,
we heard you.
We feel sorry for you. We feel sorry for you.
You don't have to feel sorry for me. I'm just pointing it out, right? It kind of feels weird to say that I'm steamrolling.
Pointed it out already.
Shut up. Bunk, I genuinely, I don't mean to make you feel dogpiled, so I apologize.
Okay, well, it's totally good, dude. Yeah.
If you're someone who is actually a gender abolitionist, then you would think that it's unhealthy to have such a personal, like passionate reliance on being identified properly.
Yeah, but unfortunately, there seems to be a subsection of the population who does have that, and whenever you see like, oh yeah, it's like unideal, it's like, yeah, it is unideal. And I think that like one way that we start doing that is we start breaking down these like these stereotypes of like the ways that different sexes perform, right? That's something that me and Lav are gonna agree on pretty strongly, I'm guessing. But like as for the people right now, I can't just tell like the trans people or even like the transgender abolitionists that I know who like have given me some of this pretty strong arguments for this position, right? That they're like, oh yeah, you should just not care, lol, right? They're still gonna have that internalized feeling. There's actually pretty large correlates whenever we look at brain scans. There's a lot of misinformation that goes around those things, but I can send you any of those links on Sci-Hub if you want to look over them. It seems that there's going to be some pretty strong influences when it comes to the reasons why trans people feel the way that they do. It doesn't seem like talk therapy is going to be something that's going to be very, very useful for that, but one thing that does seem very useful for alleviating that is not even like actual social transition in the way of like presenting in a different way, but merely the recognition of being categorized in this way by people, like their use of language seems to be very useful for them.
Those sound like the same thing to me, but either way, that's fine. I just think
okay.
So people tend to come at this conversation from 2 different perspectives, right? Idealism or realism. And
I'm a pretty real person, okay? I'm in the real world.
Yeah, you're kind of towing the line though, because you seem to be like gender abolitionist is like you don't have to. I'm not personally attacking. Like I'm just genuinely like.
No, I'm not saying
he's just a very defensive type of person. He's very insecure. So
I'm sorry if you felt I feel like I got too defensive when like a billion people started coming at me. I'm trying to have this conversation right now.
We heard you, bro.
Well, then why are you doing the same thing? Why are you doing the thing that I'm pointing out? Where you're like coming in and you're like getting in all your like little zingers on me whenever I'm like just responding to somebody else.
Let's just. Are we gonna?
It's kind of obvious. I'm just saying. I just want to have this conversation. Stop doing the weird thing. Whatever you like, this weird freak thing where you do the, like the zinger, or like, oh lol, get owned with the quip in the debate.
Ignore them.
Are you mad, little bro?
Everyone.
Are you mad that I'm mad?
Us is sub 90 IQ. Let's have this conversation.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine as a frog hair, bro. Go ahead, do your thing, man.
Okay, just making sure you're not mad that I'm mad because I'm really mad right now.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Just check
I'm not trying to make you feel.
I feel sorry for you.
Okay, thanks, buddy. Your sympathy will go a long ways.
Too much meta conversation.
That's
yeah, you could say that fucking again. That's goddamn right.
All I'm trying to say is that.
And now we're having the meta conversation.
It's already an idealist perspective. It's already kind of relying on things that are never going to be realized in our lifetime.
I think that we actually have a pretty good progression towards breaking down these gendered stereotypes and the things that we've seen as like wildly taboo from like long past don't seem to be the case anymore. I think that we're actually on a trajectory that would
How do
align
we
with my
break down
worldview.
gender stereotypes if we're giving merit to the fact that if someone performs a gender stereotype, they can become something else?
Lav, that's not my view. I don't think that they have to perform it to be classified as that.
No,
That's
not,
why my view is of a gender abolitionist.
Your view is not the view. So in the cultural zeitgeist, this is just the reality in which if you are a trans woman,
I think that I think a lot of people are very wrong and very mistaken about this. I think that a lot of people are really wrong and very mistaken about it on your side as well, of like the anti-trans issue, right? We both agree we have a lot of dumb fuck retards on our sides.
I wouldn't even say I'm anti-trans. I think I'm
That's a horrible faith.
I think I'm anti-gender.
Gender
and
ideology.
I don't think that,
right? That'd
yeah,
be, like,
anti-gender ideology and anti-genderism. Like, I just don't think that. I think that in my reality and in my utopia, where gender doesn't matter or exist, trans people will not exist. They will just be people who express themselves the way that they want to.
I actually totally agree with you. I think that that's also what's going to happen under my worldview, ideally, right?
Yeah, I don't think
the problem is I feel like real quick,
I don't think that we do that by validating and affirming people's gender identity.
I think that's exactly how we do it. I think that's been shown throughout this conversation, because the best argument you have against my position is that that's not the trans position. They're like attacking some other position that I don't hold.
Okay, let me re-say what I just said. I don't think that the way to abolish gender is to validate these people thinking that their gender identity is like innate and fixed.
Well, it kind of is though. Right, it's kind of no. It's like saying like your music tastes are.
There's nothing about gender that is innate or fixed.
Would you like me to shoot the Yeah, your personality is pretty innate and fixed. I think we both have a very hard time changing our entire personality, right?
Okay, dude, chill.
No, your gender identity is not innate and fixed unless you believe in like a soul, and that's just not. Unless,
I'm sorry.
I mean,
maybe I'm mistaken.
The trans argument is a religious argument, which is interesting to me. I think that's the most interesting part of all of this.
True.
Like, people are basically asking you to believe in God, like the whole "born in the wrong body"
Let's
thing.
Go.
Or like the whole, or like the conversation about the "born in the wrong body" thing, and also like. I don't know. All of it is just so convoluted, and I think that transgenderism, the whole concept of transgenderism came after like the 1980s, 1990s, like post-structuralism, postmodernist view of how sex like wasn't real and didn't exist.
She's on fire. You look stupid as fuck right now, Bunk.
Oh my god, shut up.
Bro, that's so real. That's so real. I was destroyed whenever they started attacking a viewpoint that wasn't mine. Okay, I was getting destroyed at that point in the arc.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good, dude. You're good, dude. It was funny.
The idea has switched, and it was supposed to be a non-sex essentialist idea, non-gender essentialist idea, in which women can be whatever they wanted and men can be whatever they wanted, and that meant that they could have any personality trait on like a bell curve, like plotting normal distribution on a bell curve. But now it's become a man can be anything, even a woman.
Well,
which doesn't make
men
any
cannot
fucking
be
sense.
women. I don't think that men can be women. I think those are mutually exclusive.
I think she's just saying that's the language that is like primarily surrounding trans women.
I mean,
trans women are women.
If you're trans women aren't men.
My mom has that.
Yes, they are.
Men by their you think that like.
You have a definition of
like,
man and woman. You have a definition of man and woman that is not the definition of man and woman.
Do you think that wait, hold on. Do you think that
it's impossible to work off of the framework and when it's just your individual framework?
So can I real quick? So the first thing I want to say is that you say that these are not fixed things. I just shot you 2 Sci-Hub links that showed these are pretty strongly linked to the ways that people's brains seem to be made up. If you're saying that, like, yeah, that's going to play into some kind of role with the society at large, like I agree. That's why I want to change the society at large by the ways that we use the language. So that's going to be the first point that you spat off. The second point that you spat off is like, oh yeah, trans women are women is like like saying that trans men are like men can be women. Do you think that like whenever trans women say that they're women, that means like their definition of man and woman are like they're saying that a man could be a woman, Or do you even think that like they're deceived as like as to far as like what they mean whenever they say like a man is not a woman? Like I just don't even understand. Whenever I hear people saying like trans women are women, what I think that they're taking that to be as is like that they should be classified underneath the term of a woman, and that they're making a claim about their preferences. They're not making a claim about their biology. I don't think that anybody thinks that like trans women are like born cis females, because then why would they say that they're trans?
What?
Yeah.
No. That what these people are saying is that they have like, well, a lot of what these people say. Some people say that they have like a female brain in their male body, which retarded.
I mean, I shot you the evidence for that as far as these.
No, Phil, you talk about this, but then if you want to actually talk about philosophy, you want to talk about the female and male brain. Why would you call a female brain inside of a male a female brain? What's the utility of calling a female brain if it's in a male? There's no utility in that.
Is that there's some
And
kind
no,
of
listen.
Hold on, real
And
quick.
also, if that's true, even if I grant that there is a gendered brain, you would have to find a way to empirically state and test how a female brain got into a male body. You would have to describe how the fuck that happened. And you can't. Philosophically, it makes no fucking sense. None of this makes any fucking sense.
Hold on, real quick. Do you think that they mean that like a female's brain has been surgically removed and put into their head, or do you think they're probably making statements about
the burden is on them
psychological
to describe,
effects?
No, the burden on them is to describe how a female brain got into a male body.
I'm asking you the question about the claim, right? What do you think the proposition is, that there was like a brain that was like made, like that was in like a female brain is what a brain is possessed by a female?
So I don't have to describe this. This is retarded.
She's obviously not saying that.
Okay.
She's saying that's how ridiculous it sounds.
Okay,
Yes.
so if we grant that that's not what they're talking about, right? Do you think that what they're talking about maybe is like the different ways that like the neurology tends to link together? They might be describing that, right? Like that there's like there's certain ways that like certain neurology links together that causes people to identify with the feminine social archetype more often than not, and that's what they're talking about, right? So whenever they say like
yeah, but then they just
they're
identify
man with
that archetype.
like a woman's brain, right? They're talking about the part that defines being a woman is like having that that identification. That's what I take that to mean. In which case, like, I just wouldn't see any incoherence with the position. I don't even know what the objection to the objection to the position would be.
But the archetype itself is not intrinsic. That's something that we created.
Oh, okay. That doesn't mean people can like. Oh, okay.
I think
can identify with a lot of things that we create, right? We create a lot of media. People can identify with that.
The point is that man and woman is intrinsic and biological, whereas the thing that you're saying that they're neurological.
Okay, let's actually
is a concept.
Let's throw out any of these words. Okay, I'm sick of doing this like weird thing where we're like talking about like, oh, but men is like when biology.
Well,
I'm not saying when
Bunk.
No. I'm talking real quick.
You can easily replace what I just said with male or female, and it's still
okay. So
you're just going off on a tangent you don't need to go on. I'm saying you can just change the words I use to male and female. It means the same thing.
I'm sorry. Then what's even the objection to the argument? What are you possibly objecting to?
Because we were trying to say what is the utility of saying that someone might say that they have like a female brain in a male body.
Because the problem
is
that when normally it's really hard to explain to like your average person the different ways that like the brain lights up that correlates with identification with a certain archetype, and therefore the maximization of preferences through being identified with the words that we normally use to identify that archetype, right? That's a really, really complicated thing to say, and I can get that through to you metaphorically by using words like, oh, it's like a woman's brain, like a man's body, right? Like that's a lot easier to explain to your average person, and that's where the utility comes from in that. But like I think we both take it to be the case that like I'm obviously not describing like, oh, there was a female born and it was like the brain got like surgically removed, or like there was like a biological mess up where like
I think there's
all
a
that's like scrambled.
I understand what
right?
you're saying. I'm not confused about what you're saying.
Okay, well then like what's the objection?
What I'm saying is you're tying something that is you're saying that the utility in saying that is that someone might identify with these societal traits, like neurologically, but we
Yep.
have assigned those neurological traits ourselves to one of the two genders.
No,
So
it's
if
that
someone
the
is a
no, you're mistaken. No, it's that they
You think that there's something?
you can just
you think
laugh,
that there's
right?
something
That's the best
I'm
is
not
like
laughing at
forcing a fake laugh. Okay, gotcha.
not
It's not
laughing.
you.
It's
All right.
Not forced, man. That's
All right,
fucking what you
it
just
sounds
said was
super
crazy as
forced.
fuck.
I'm sorry. It doesn't sound crazy to me to say that somebody's mistaken because it doesn't mean like we're assigning like the neurological ways that it lights up to like the archetypes, right? That's not what they're saying. Is that these ways of lighting up seem to correlate with people identifying with those archetypes, right? That's a different statement. It means
Okay,
something
that's
different.
what he's saying. He's saying the archetypes
No, those
are
are
already there. So
No, I gave two statements and they meant different things. If you didn't understand
Okay.
how those meant different things, I can try and explain to you.
But Bunk, okay.
No, I'm talking
even
about
if-
Kilo. Kilo said.
Oh, fucking fake.
Go ahead, Kilo.
Bunk, even if I give you that, and I say, okay, I'm with you on that.
Okay.
There are.
You're with me on it. All right.
There's a well, if I were to say that, and you were to say,
Okay, well, don't
you're basically
don't do
making-
this thing where you're like, oh, well, if I were to say this thing, just like grant it or don't. I don't want to have this like half conversation.
Well,
Or,
I
like,
just
go
I
back
don't
to
think I don't think it changes what I'm saying. If we're saying that one strongly correlates with people who identify with like the woman archetype, the societal things that we attribute to being a woman.
Like the preferential
That doesn't
experience
change-
gained by being identified as a woman.
I'm not saying it's a choice. I'm saying like whatever the fuck the things are that we associate with womanhood. If
Oh,
if
yeah,
we
the things that-
neurologically align more with those things.
Oh yeah, that's
there's a
the-
strong
that's the
correlation for that.
So that's the utility in like not saying like, oh yeah, what you need to be identified with as like a woman is gonna be like you have to be expressing of these things. That's where that's gonna like break down that language. It's gonna mean less. The gendered language is gonna mean a little bit less. We're gonna break down those different categorizations. That's my point. All right, I don't see a good reason that would be like a bad thing. It seems like a really strong argument as to why that's a good thing. Yeah, like I don't know. I still don't understand any of your objections to the argument.
I think
kind of
that
like
if we
we
do
move
that-
from point to point to point of each objection, but
I
none of them
think
seem
if
to
we
be
do
very
that,
strong.
it removes the entire necessity of what you're trying to do.
Oh yeah, it would. It would at the end, right? Like whenever these words don't mean very much, I don't think that trans people will exist anymore. I think that's going to be really beneficial for them. I think it's going to be really beneficial when they don't feel like they need to like express in a certain way or like that they need to be identified with these certain things. And that's the idea behind gender abolition. Yeah.
But what I think.
Like
and
yeah,
I
that's
don't
my
wanna-
argument. I agree.
I don't think, but I think
Good ass
that
point.
the way to. I think that the way to get there is what we disagree on, right?
Oh well, how do
Because-
you plan on getting there? Actually, give me your prescriptions.
Well, like I said, so from a true like idealist gender abolitionist perspective,
No, I'm talking about idealism, right? I just gave you like prescriptions as to like how that would work.
I am talking about idealism because we have to like this is something that I don't think we can achieve in our lifetime.
Why not?
Like I'm talking about the world that should be.
We
Because
can't.
this is
We can't.
the
As in
way
like
that-
what would limit it?
the way that I envision this happening is.
Oh no! Wait,
a
actually,
long-
hold on. When you say within our lifetime, I agree within our lifetime, right? But I'm a long-termist, so I don't really care about whether it's
And
in our
it's
lifetime or not.
definitely not going
I
to-
think what we can do in our lifetime is stop accepting that you can identify out of personhood and your biological reality.
Nobody's
then make it
identifying out
okay.
of their biological reality. Nobody's like, oh, I identify as
No,
not being
I-
assigned
they're
male
just-
at birth.
That's like literally just not true. Like that's like just literally. And also,
Who is
language
doing
of
this,
being,
Lab?
the language of being assigned male at birth, you are empirically observed as your sex at birth. The language is fucking ridiculous. Like
I'm sorry.
and
No, we have to assign categories, Lab.
I host Twitter Spaces.
Okay.
Twitter Spaces in which
Epic.
I talk to trans people, and 90% of them literally say that you can change sex. I don't know what trans people you're
Oh.
talking to. I've
Oh,
spoken
do you
to
know why they say
hundreds
that?
at this point.
It's kind of. I don't know.
I don't
know
care
if
why
it's...
they say it.
Oh,
The fact
okay.
You're
that
gonna
they're saying
explain it. Let's hear it.
Yeah,
Okay, so the ways that we classify sex, some of these are these could just be like clustered traits. There's going to be things like chromosomal sex, which are things that we cannot change.
Can
Things
I-
like hormonal
you-
and anthropological sex are
you're
things that we
saying
can't.
things
Real
like
quick,
you
real
can
quick.
change sex, and now you're saying things like you said that you can't, and that these people aren't.
No, I said that you can
aren't saying that,
identify
and now
out of
you're-
it. Those
and
aren't the
now
same
you're
thing.
trying-
Those are different things, Lav.
Identify out of your.
Yeah, if I
biological body?
identify
What
if
are
I
you talking
identify as a
about?
woman, that doesn't mean like all of a sudden I have a different hormone levels. But we can
Calm
change
down,
hormone levels by
bro.
doing things.
Chill-
like-
Just chill out
I-
just a little
I don't
bit.
care
You're
for the
so
apathy
mean online.
competition.
Why are you
I-
such a mean person
I
online?
don't
Just
care to be
chill
tone
out.
policed, okay? Just please listen to the argument that I'm giving.
I'm not
right?
tone policing. I'm just saying, come on, chill.
What do you
bro.
think it is whenever you're like, hey, I don't like your tone. Stop using that tone.
Oh man, I love your tone. It's a little.
What do you think the tone policing is?
I'm not policing it, bro. You're not
I
under
don't think he's
arrest.
being
Got
mean. Just
you.
go ahead, Bunk.
Got you.
Cook, go.
Okay, so yeah, there's a different statements saying that you cannot identify out of the reality of things doesn't mean that you can't change the reality of things. Those are different things. I can't identify out of having 2 arms and I no longer have 2 arms. I can chop one of my arms off.
Okay, but your identity is meaningless. Your identity means nothing. Your perception of your reality means nothing to the way that we make laws. We don't make laws based on identity. We don't protect any other identity. If I say all of you must refer to me as the prettiest person you've ever met and the smartest person you've ever met, you absolutely can just be like, no.
Okay.
Yes, queen.
That's
no.
great. These are like things that we use to describe like attributes of
that's identity. That's identity. So
you can identify as the prettiest person ever, but when we're describing pretty, we're describing like traits about you, right? In the same way that you're using the word woman to describe traits about something, and I'm using the word woman to describe traits about something, but the traits about that person I'm describing is like their identity, right? The psychological states. So in the same way that like if I say people,
there's no
wait,
stop
doing that.
Woman is not a psychological state.
Unskippable main story quest.
Holy shit, please. Oh my fucking god. In the middle of my sentence is not the time for your sentence, Lav. Please.
Calm down, man. Calm down.
I'm sorry. I'm super triggered right now. I'm super triggered, okay? That makes me so upset. So when it comes to when it comes to things like saying, oh, someone's favorite, like someone whose favorite color is blue, that's going to be determined by objective psychological facts about that individual person, right? That's what I'm going to be talking about. You could say like, oh, woman is not like a set of psychological facts. Well, unless you're going to argue in favor of objective definitions, which are pretty clearly don't exist. I don't even know how you begin to have that argument. Just like ask where we get the
definitions.
Yeah, like definitions that like aren't that are stance like independent, right?
Okay, so let me consider this. A woman is someone who holds with the capability of holding the bigger sex gamete, which is an egg.
The bigger sex gamete. So like a woman with her uterus removed, that'd be like they're no longer a woman. They like got owned.
No, so a woman with her uterus removed is still capable.
No, they're not.
Of holding. Yes, they are. They are suffering from a condition in which, because of their a male cannot suffer from a genetic condition in which his uterus does not work, right? That is a female specific
even
condition.
if I grant this, right, we'd have to like grant things like satiety and like other.
What do you mean? This isn't
even if I were to. Oh yeah, you're right. It isn't something that I grant. It's stupid, right? It's a very stupid thing to say. No, yeah, like people who get hysterectomies.
These are trans strongest soldiers.
Yeah. People strongest soldiers know what hysterectomies are. Yes, Lav, you fucking owned me. I'm destroyed. I'm destroyed, dude. Holy shit.
A female with a hysterectomy is still a woman because they're still a female.
What?
Not because they identify.
No, you said that a female is somebody who's capable of holding large gametes, right? Yes. I'm saying that they're not capable of holding large gametes. They're no longer a female underneath your definition. You understand?
They would still be capable if they were given a cure. If they were given a cure,
their uterus was removed.
If they were
surgically, that's what a hysterectomy is.
Sure, but they usually you usually get a hysterectomy because of what?
Because of a variety of reasons.
Yeah, and usually it's a medical condition. It's medical conditions. It's usually something like polycystic ovarian syndrome or endometriosis.
Of what is it? Some 11% of women have these medical conditions.
That's just to someone who ever had.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know if I believe that, but even if that is true, like that doesn't make the arc for you.
1 in 4 women have endometriosis.
Right.
And endometriosis is the leading cause of hysterectomy.
This is so tangential. You're just
like it doesn't really matter too much to the point, right? Even if
no, it does. So regardless,
it doesn't,
if you put
it doesn't.
Oh my
Lav,
God.
if you're saying the people who are a part of the people who are a part of the set contain X trait. If they do not contain X trait, they're no longer a part of the set.
So human beings are bimodal, which means that you either have a male sex gamete, yes, or a female sex gamete, right?
No, that's not what bimodal is. Actually, no.
No, bimodal means that there are aberrations, right? But
no, bimodal means that
the two modes in which every organism exists is male and female.
The way that the modes work.
So
hold on, wait.
No, you're gonna explain it to me wrong. You keep saying stop, and I've listened to you ramble about fucking nothingness. Let mommy talk for a second.
I'm sorry. You got destroyed on every argument before this. If you think that was rambling, then holy shit, I can't. Yes, you did. Like, there was no argument you did well on before this. There was none. There was no even good objection.
Oh man, the Destiny impersonators.
Am I being
yes, I'm doing the Destiny. I'm doing the Destiny thing where you debate really, really hard. I'm sorry. Fuck, dude. Owned.
No, I just anyway. So a female who has a hysterectomy is still not capable of holding like a male gamete. Has never been capable of holding a male gamete, right?
I agree.
But a woman who has a hysterectomy was at one point capable, or still capable, if given a uterus again, to biologically their cells are in tune to hold the bigger sex gamete.
They're biologically in tune for that?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know about the cells being biologically in tune for that. I'm not sure about that specifics of the biology, right?
Every cell in your body is either male or female. So there are chromosomes in every cell.
Okay.
Every cell in your body is either male or female.
That's great. I don't know if those are like incredibly binary in the way that they're chromosomal. I don't know how that plays into things like pregnancy. Biology is a very complicated thing.
So even intersex people are only capable of holding one or the other.
That's great. I don't even think that's true either.
No,
though.
It is true.
No, it's not that intersex people are capable of holding one or the other. There
is one really rare
either one of them. Okay.
There is one really rare condition in which two twins fuse in the uterus, and they're capable of both, but they cannot carry neither of those. Like they cannot carry a child. But that is because they are two people. They can
carry either the large reproductive what do you call it? The object is it gamete? Or the small one? Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Holy shit! It's getting too late for me this conversation. Okay. When it comes to
I can tell
okay, that's great. Maybe we're gonna be on like similar levels now. Okay. So when it comes to the okay, if it is the case that yeah, you're right. I'm 10 years old. You're owning me. When it comes to the conversation,
YouTube channel, you're like 15 or something.
Okay, thanks. I'm not, but I appreciate your comments on my eternal youth. When it comes to the conversation that we're having right now, even if I were to grant that, there's going to be a bunch of different things philosophically that comes to things like distinguishing between the properties of like one atom from another. The distinction that we're going to be making there is always going to be one that's going to be normative. But even if I were to like throw that out, right, and we just have this conversation, the way that we're classified about sex are not going to be things like the capability to hold given gametes, because there are going to be people who fall within those given sexes who are not able to hold those gametes. If you say like, oh, but if they were to be cured, that doesn't matter.
Capable.
But that doesn't.
No, but they are capable.
Wait, hold on. What do you think capable means?
You're saying in present tense. You're saying in present tense that they can't. But that a woman.
What do you think capable means? Hold on. What do you think capable means? What does it mean?
Hold on. 0 is not the same as none. Okay. A fucking trans woman has none. Has no egg.
No capability of holding a large.
Zero actually. Zero. That's actually the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. 0 is the exact same as none.
No, it isn't.
No, those literally mean the same thing. I'm losing my mind. I'm actually going crazy. This is driving me nuts. No, those are the same thing. Regardless,
don't get into a conversation about 0 and none. Jesus Christ.
Holy shit, dude. We're gonna be going into the most nuts.
Well, you almost veered into objective truth for a second, and I was gonna fucking put a stop to it real quick.
No, not even objective truth, but objective. That was gonna be objective categories. Okay, wait until we get to that part.
Yeah, objective categories.
Holy shit, that just drives me crazy. Okay. When we're talking about the different classifications of individuals based on sex, it seems that there's certain ways that we tend to classify them. And there's a reason that your definition isn't widely adopted. If you want to, we can go over every single possible different disorder that people could have. Regardless, whenever you say capable, right, you're saying capable as in like if we were to change their biology, I could say the same thing about. Hold on, real quick.
With the capability.
Yeah.
They were born with the necessary material.
No, they aren't though. That's what prevents them from doing it, right? If you were
in
to
the
change,
same way that
if you
in
were
the same way that
stop,
males aren't,
stop,
in the
stop.
same way that males aren't.
No,
Jesus.
not in the same way. No, of course not.
Okay, and why is
They-
that?
Because they have
What's the
different things that inhibit them from doing the thing.
Yeah, but what are those things? They're female
typically-
centered, right? They're
Typically,
because
it's
you're
a cluster of
female.
characteristics, and it's
so
individually.
women
and it's
are
individually
barren
based
because
or-
they have
and real quick, stop,
diseases
stop.
that affect the female reproductive system.
You're so right
yes?
about that. Yes, of course. Do you think that's what I'm
Okay.
disagreeing with?
Yes.
What are you agreeing with?
I'm sorry. Okay, hold on. I need to actually explain it. Give me 1 second.
Please.
The different things that inhibit people from possessing the characteristic of X are not what make the category of X true, okay? Because it's the case that things don't have the property of like P that gets them into the category of X. If you just say if something has the property of P, they are in the category of X. That's what X is defined as, right? And there's a possibility of somebody not having the property of P, but also being in the category of X, then it's no longer the case that that's the definition, right? We could give a bunch of different reasons as to why somebody doesn't possess the property of P. We could have a conversation about that, and that's why this definition is not widely adapted by scientists, because it's just not the way that we define these characteristics, right? We look at individual different forms of sex, and then we classify people based on that, as I said before, giving different mentions of things like chromosomal, anthropological, hormonal, things like that. But the reasons why they don't possess the property of P has nothing to do with the category of X, right? You just be saying like, oh, well, in order to be classified in the category of X, what they have to have is they have to have these set of conditions to that like make them close enough to carrying the property of P, right? Like you could say that like a homeostatic property cluster, right? But then we're just going to be like going back to the current scientific definition of sex, right? So this isn't even like, this has nothing to do with objective categories, right? This is just like a poor definition. This wouldn't even prove the point. It would just be like giving an alternative definition of the one that people currently use within science.
I think your problem is
really
you're getting so lost in the rhetoric and the philosophy of it that you forget that this stuff doesn't matter when we make laws.
I think that you saying that I'm lost in the rhetoric and the philosophy, rhetoric and the substance.
You're lost in trying to make everyone.
Well, I already talked about the laws, right, and the ways that we classify those things, right? I talked about how the people being a part of the category. Real quick, people being a part of.
Hold on. No.
Okay.
To make laws,
go for it.
You need to have legislative definitions of things. So
I agree.
You say,
yep.
So you cannot legislate your definition of woman. Even if it were to be granted, even if in this conversation I was like, okay,
I don't think we should be
you cannot
legislating this definition of woman. Yeah,
you need to, because women are a protected class.
Women are a protected class is like as in, are you talking about the idea that people are protected based on like sex? Is that what you're talking about when you say they're a protected class?
Yes.
Oh, well, yeah, sex is already defined. Like, there's no problem. I'm not trying to redefine what sex is. You just don't have an objection to my position, and that's just like, I don't object to that. Like, of course. I don't think that, like,
so woman,
I don't think people who are, like, pre-transition should be, classified as the sex that they're not.
Human female. And also, we are...
Yeah,
people
female
can change people can change their sex.
First of all, no,
that's not identification.
First of all, no, we disagreed on that, right? I'm giving a prescriptive definition. That's not even the descriptive definition in most dictionaries anymore, to my knowledge, or there's at least some of them that define it that way. But I don't think that that's the most useful definition of the term, and just saying, like, that's how it's defined is just like, okay, well, I'm going to object to that, right? I'm just going to reject that premise. And then when we're getting into things like legislation, I'm just, like, not objecting to that. I don't even know why we're talking about legislation. Right, like the way that we define,
we can have a philosophical conversation about this, but the reason why I'm a TERF is because I don't think that males can be women. I don't think that they should be, and I think that that's impossible to legislate against.
Why shouldn't we classify trans women as women? Like
now you're just going back to because they're calling themselves women based off of arbitrary gender roles that harm women.
Arbitrary what do you mean what arbitrary gender roles are they calling themselves women based off of?
The fact that they feel feminine.
They feel like their preferences are most maximized by being identified with a social archetype, right? Like there are like women who feel feminine as well, right? But we wouldn't reject them as women.
So can you identify as black?
No.
Why?
You can't identify as black because that's describing some kind of outside
If I drink
characteristic of you.
Kool-Aid, if I paint myself dark, if I wear like a red handkerchief, can I identify as black?
Well, I've already answered this earlier in the conversation. I'm going to say the same thing.
Right.
Go to jail.
Okay, but
Right,
what
it's
is
gonna
the
be-
difference? What if I feel black?
Don't have a dad.
The difference
What if I feel
is
black?
the difference is that being black, the most useful definition for this term, just isn't going to be like if you feel black. Right? We don't have a large
So
amount of
it's
people
not
who like
useful.
feel
It's
black.
not useful to women. Your
The way he
definition
says
is
black.
not useful to women.
Well, I
Your
don't care if it's
definition is
useful to one.
trans people.
I don't care. Yes, I don't care if it's useful to one individual
that's-
group or another group. I'm talking about on aggregate.
well-
What's the most useful one? I'm considering
Well,
all
wait,
actors
wait,
individually,
hold on.
right?
Wait, hold
when it
on.
comes to
But
things
the
like
most useful
when it comes to
definition
things
me
like
as a
when it comes
transracial
to
person is someone who identifies as black.
Transracial, hell
There-
yeah.
there's no convincing medical literature at all surrounding transracial individuals. I don't know what.
There's
Okay.
just as much. There's
No.
just as much.
That's,
I don't know what you're
now you're just
talking about.
blatantly lying, Lav. Why
Well,
why were you
I-
lying about that? Give me this data. Actually, we'll have a data off. Lav, me and you, we can get in DMs. We can send data between each other. I guarantee you on this. All right, you're not gonna have any data surrounding transracial people the way that we have data surrounding transgender people.
What is the data surrounding? What data are you speaking about
I'm
that
talking
makes
about the
it
types of-
valid for someone to
I'm
not
talking about-
identify?
I'm talking about the types of data surrounding things like the effect on their mental health, the types of data surrounding things like this being a great part of their identity.
Yeah, I will kill
the-
myself if I can't be black.
If you're gonna kill yourself because you can't be black, I would probably like not
Wait, Bunk.
refer to you as like black intentionally in your presence. Like if you were
Can I-
like if I knew with 100% certainty that you would like kill yourself, I had to refer to you as the most beautiful person
With
in the
100%
room.
certainty.
Yeah, if I knew
Is
that,
that what we have for trans people?
not with 100% certainty. I'm just saying like I'm granting it in the most generous hypothetical version.
I'm
What do
gonna
you
kill
mean?
myself after this conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
Didn't pass
hold
your
on,
bedtime?
Lav, if I had a gun to my head and I said if you don't call me the most beautiful person in the room, I'm going to kill myself. Do you think the morally just thing would be to like say no, you are not that, and then just like let me blow my brains out? You know, that would be like the morally good thing.
No, but then you'd just
Yep.
be placating me. We don't make laws off of
Yeah, me
placating
too.
people.
Yeah, you
I
just be
think so as
placating them,
well.
right? That's the
We don't,
same
we
answer
don't
that I'm gonna give
change
for this one.
definitions because of placating people.
We
True.
kind of do.
No.
Oh yeah, of
we
course we
don't,
do.
and
Why?
we
Why do we have
shouldn't.
definitions?
Why are we being held
Lav,
hostage?
Lav, why do we have definitions?
To classify things?
Yeah. Why do we classify things?
This
To
is-
keep people like safe.
What? To say from what?
You sound like you have the answer. Why don't
From
you just
you.
give her the fucking answer?
Oh yeah, we
I
make
don't-
definitions because they are useful, right? They're useful to
Yeah,
have
you're
Sure,
definitions.
but what are the uses?
The uses,
like-
usefulness is just going to be defined as like what's morally good to me, right? It's going to be like preferable
Oh,
experience minus
What's
dispreferable
morally good
experience.
to you?
Yeah.
That's usefulness.
Yeah, that's what useful is. Yeah, of course.
What's morally good?
Yeah, useful means instrumental, right? It's instrumental towards what? Obviously morals. What we should do. Dumb fuck. What kind of
Okay,
gotcha
here's
is
the
this? What kind of a retard gotcha is that? What the fuck?
transracial shell here. Okay.
Jeez, so mean online, dude.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So-
I'm
so
sorry.
with-
I'm
with-
so mean in this
hold on.
conversation. I'm sorry.
I
I
wanna-
should
I
be
wanna
really
give my
nice
2
when I'm getting
cents.
dogpiled and I'm
Wait,
like having the
it's
most
okay.
stupid
We'll allow
conversations ever.
I don't think you're getting dogpiled. I think people are just responding to
Oh yeah, just like a lot of people are responding to me
how
like
silly you're being.
Bunk,
yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
a
be
lot of
completely
people are
your side
responding
here.
to me
I
like
wanna
all
give an
at once,
argument.
like that. Yeah, like that.
Hold
Completely
on.
different thing from a dog pile, right? Like when a lot of people are
Pause.
responding
Time
to the
out.
same person, like an argument.
Pause,
Yeah.
Please.
Okay.
Sock. Go ahead.
Okay, so with being transgender, you define sex and gender as 2 separate things. Sex
yeah.
being biological, gender being like a set of expressions and experiences. Whatever.
Gender's gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna be classifying like there's different parts of gender, but like I feel like that's
Yeah,
a
there- yeah,
conversation
but
for, like,
the-
later day.
Yeah. All the things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that would be like expression, your life experience, whatever. With race, so the race is the biological aspect, and then culture is the
Yeah, you could say like
is the
culture's
equivalent
a,
to like the gender in that scenario.
Yeah, you probably could
Where
say
it's
that.
like
Mhm.
someone cannot be transracial in that they're like, oh, I'm black,
and like
but they
you now
can
have,
be
like, a
like,
different
oh,
melon.
I grew up in Nigeria, my culture is Nigerian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just gonna be like the difference between things that it's like somebody saying, oh, your favorite color being blue means that like it's determined by the psychological facts of you liking blue. Well, what if I like being like a tall person? It's like, okay, well, it's just gonna be like the reasons why we're defining these things are gonna be different. That's gonna be the response. It's gonna be the response everybody's gonna give you.
I think that's a bad analogy, because I could hypothetically pose like a situation to you where someone is ethnically and biologically white.
Okay.
And they all their life feel alienated by their own culture, the things that we commonly associate as like the archetype of being white. They feel alienated by those things. They don't resonate with them. But they do identify with the things that we commonly associate with being black.
Okay.
And if we were to establish a neurological link for these things, like let's say a proclivity for liking basketball could be an example, right? Or hip hop or something like that. If we could establish a neurological link that would lead or like have correlation with identifying with those things, couldn't you make the same argument that that's a legitimate thing?
Yeah, we make an argument that it's a legitimate thing for people to like basketball. We call them people who are basketball fans.
People
who play basketball.
Identify with all aspects. I give you one example, but
yeah,
what if it was all aspects?
If somebody got like all aspects of a culture, like they like all aspects of the culture.
You don't
Yeah,
think
like
it'd be probably somebody who like enjoys that culture, right?
Stuff like that.
Yeah, it'd be probably somebody who enjoys that culture.
The kid was adopted by a black female when he was like 1 month old.
But like, if you want to make like an argument behind like,
you're saying the same thing though.
I mean, it's not a perfect analogy, but if you like spent 10 years in Germany, even if you weren't born there, and you like did everything culturally German, you're like, yeah.
Nah,
I feel more German than I feel American right now.
Wouldn't this just be transcultural though?
It's not. It's because it's a stupid way of talking about it.
People say transracial,
because it's not a perfect analogy, but
it's like
it's as close as you're gonna get.
When it comes to like people being transracial, I guess what we're talking about is like it's a different thing from like what I'm saying whenever I'm saying that somebody's a woman, right? It's just like a different.
How's it
I'm
different?
describing a different. Because I'm describing a different thing. If you
Yeah,
have,
but,
if
like,
you have
what
like
is
some
it-
widely
how-
accepted like medical literature surrounding people who are like have this identification from like different like racial groups or archetypes, like
literature saying that
around trans people, there's a fuck ton.
No, there's no literature saying that there is a gender identity. That there's no you can't empirically test a gender identity. We don't even know that it's real. We just
Yes, you
talk about
can.
it as if it is.
The same way that you can
there's
like.
no gender in the
Wait.
brain. This has been debunked.
Where do you? No. First of all, you're just insanely wrong on this. I don't
There's
know why
no
you're so
gender in my
confident.
brain.
Whenever you say, whenever you say
point to a
things
brain
like,
and go,
It's a difference.
this is the gender part right here.
Where
This
do you
says
think?
boy.
Where do you think your preferences come from?
Oh my fucking god, dude! That's not
Socialization and like where does that like appear from, right?
You are saying
What's
that
the
I
thing
like
that
to
you
do
like?
my makeup. I like to eat hot chip because I'm female.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
wait, no, not because you're
absolutely.
female, but like probably because you have certain parts about your brain that like have different reward centers. Of course, yeah.
Wait, not because
What?
she's female
What if
though?
there was correlation with
Yeah, this
between
is
those
like a
reward
sexist
centers?
argument.
Wait,
It's fucking crazy.
Wait, how is I recognize that like there's dopamine release is a sexist argument? What the fuck?
Wait.
Yes, I'm insanely sexist right now, and I acknowledge the
You're
idea that like
you're acknowledging
brains
that women and
work.
first of all, males and females. Who is
Yeah, on this particular thing,
Thank you, Deborah. We're good.
she wins, right? Like there's no. It's not just women who are like, oh, if I make myself look better, I feel better.
Yeah. Like there's probably parts of your brain that are like associated with like different dopamine hits. It's a very complicated thing, but one thing we know is like whenever people don't have a brain. No, I guarantee you neuroscience is very fucking complicated, Lav. I don't know how confident you are.
No, you can't both acknowledge that gender is a construct and that also it's not a metaphysical attribute that you cannot point to in the physical world.
Gender argument. This is genderism. This is literally transgenderism. Like
Wait,
it's sex essentialism with a repackaged bow.
Okay, I'm sorry. What do you think the contradiction lies on? I'm sorry.
The fact that you are
Listen to it real
arguing
quick.
for a non-sex essentialist view while enforcing
I'm
it.
talking to the person who just said something about like metaphysics or some dumb shit like that.
Some dumb shit.
Oh well, if what I said was dumb, it's not worth repeating, is it?
Oh no, I'm just like asking. For, are you just gonna like throw the objection and you don't want to hear any
here's the
like response to it?
I'll say it again, okay?
Okay,
Here's
gotcha.
the distinction. I'll say it slow too, so you understand fully.
Oh my God, stop.
Right. The objection is the idea that gender, which this has been the like root argument of all like most of the trans movement since the 60s, that gender is a construct. So
it is.
Let's do something with that. Okay, what does it mean to say that gender is a construct? We're talking about a metaphysical idea. It's an idea. It's not real. It's not in the physical world. It's just a concept. So hold on, can I finish? So we have this concept that gender is both a construct and can be deconstructed. Her argument in pointing at the brain was to say that there is no, you can't point at the brain and go concept in nature. There is never a concept. The forms that, I hate to say this, but like the forms and the Socrates metaphysics, whatever you want to call it, the stuff that we conceive in our brains, in our mind eye, right? That doesn't exist in reality anywhere. So
you're
that
right
was
about
what I was gathering from what she said. When gender is not in the brain, it's literally not. You can't point to anything. It's something metaphysical, just like the concept of gender itself, which transgenders have been trying to deconstruct since the 60s. So I just don't see how you can have. That's the contradiction.
Well, no, you didn't display a contradiction. There was no the proposition, the negation of the proposition. But whenever we talk about like the concept,
negation of the which proposition did I negate?
I'm saying that you didn't negate any proposition. That was the point of it not being a contradiction. That's what I said. So when we're talking about the conceptualization of something,
I negated the first proposition of the transgender movement, which is that
I'm sorry, you don't know what a contradiction is. A contradiction is whenever you affirm a proposition, you negate that same proposition. Now let's get back to the conversation that we were having. Okay, real quick. I want to respond to your argument. Okay, I don't want to talk about. I want to explain to you what contradictions are all day.
It's negated.
No, I want to talk to you about your actual objection. Okay, we can talk about contradictions some other time. You can add me on Discord. We can have an entire conversation about what logical contradictions are. Okay.
I don't think I would want to be honest.
Yeah, I don't want to have that conversation either. I think you get it now. So when it comes to
we're also aggressive right now.
When it comes to the ideas, the concepts that we have, it's pretty clear that's like an emergence of the way that the brain works, right? If we take out somebody's like prefrontal cortex, it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear. We have things like phi, which are able to measure the feedback of a.
What does that even mean?
You don't know what an emergent property is? You have no idea?
Property? So you're saying metaphysical ideology is a.
Oh, okay, I know we're
the fact that you're trying to talk about metaphysics. You know what an emergent property is?
An emergent property is.
No,
I don't think.
I'm sorry. I'm not upset that they don't know what an emergent property is. I'm upset that they're acting like it's some wild concept and then like trying to act like they know more about the subject than I do. When it comes to things like.
Nobody's An emergent property is like when a whole bunch of things work in tandem with each other to make something function differently than the individual components do.
Yeah, like the way that your computer is running. It's like there's an emergence between like the different properties of your computer. You have things that like a GPU and a CPU which are working together in order to produce the experience that you have right now. It seems that there's similar things going on with the brain. We can kind of identify where the certain conscious parts of the brain are. It's going to be things like our feedback systems, like the prefrontal cortex, and things like free forest systems, like the cerebellum, aren't going to be playing so much of a role in that. We can see that whenever like take out somebody's prefrontal cortex, they kind of stop having a conscious experience. But like cerebellum doesn't seem to be as relevant to that type of thing. We can measure these types of feedback systems, how much feedback a system has. These are all things that are going to be playing into roles of our like conscious experience, the ability you have like the qualia that is associated with the concept that you are having within your mind whenever you talk about gender. So that's what I'm talking about when I was saying gender. Like it's going to be a part of the brain in the same way that like the dopamine hits that you get from like having a lot of money is going to be a part of the brain, or like the concept that like money has value is going to be part of like
you think that men and women have different. You think that males and females have different dopamine centers?
No. What?
Okay, then why did you bring that up earlier?
They're going to be associated with different. I'm sorry. No, the ways there's like a correlation between the ways that the brain tends to light up within a given individual. It's not going to be 100%. Just because there's like a correlation between like men and women on something doesn't mean it's like 100% the case. That's going to be true.
So why did you bring it up?
Because you said there was no scientific basis for the idea there's like a correlate between the brain and the gender ideology, or like the gender of an individual. I sent you the 2 Sci-Hub links. I don't know why you keep arguing with me about this. You can go pull them up. You can see this research for yourself right now.
I've read this research. It's pseudoscience. It's pseudoscience.
Seems like you want to say there's a correlation.
What's your objection to the methodology of the research?
those links don't support your arguments at all.
Hold on. I just real quick, I've got to know this. How can you just pass, right? The whole of, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, the history of philosophical thinkers that have come up with this metaphysical ideology about the forms and the concepts that our brains think of that are not in reality, and just pass it off as a, what did you call it? A natural, it just comes from nature that humans have these metaphysical concepts.
By the way, Dabber, no, that's not what I said at all. Dabber, you can add me on Discord. We can talk about the brain research. I guarantee you, there's a fuck ton of research on this given matter. But I'm sorry, one more time. No, I didn't say that it was like a thing from. I mean, I suppose it's like nature and like it occurs in nature, but I don't even know what nature would mean other than like.
You just like pass it off like it just naturally occurs in nature that metaphysics and math and.
That people have like conscious experience. Yeah, I mean, we're both having a conscious experience right now.
Right? Do you think that necessarily comes from nature, though? That we have metaphysics.
What do you think? What is nature?
You think?
Bunk, can you clarify something?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Okay, go ahead.
I want to hear what this guy. What is nature, real quick?
Nature?
Yeah, that's the question. To be honest. Okay, well, I have no idea what the answer to your question is. Okay, what's the other guy?
I just want to know what's the other guy. I just want to know. So you kind of seem like you're saying both things. You're saying there's like a correlation between the two, but you're also saying like, oh well, there's no direct cause like biologically between. Like
no, so real quick, there seems to be some kind of cause when it comes to the ways that people like the things that people enjoy, the identifications with like different archetypes socially.
There's also probably cause. Like, you're saying there's a correlation between which ones are like, I guess generally male and which ones are generally female, but you're also saying there's. It seems like you're not.
I'm a god. Do you see how I'm playing? It's crazy.
Are you playing? Are you playing? This is the worst thing you've done all day. Is play Overwatch. Is boot up Overwatch instead of Minecraft. This is actually the worst thing you've done.
Yeah, I know.
Do you see what I'm asking?
You kind of are doing really well right now. Holy shit.
I don't see what you're asking. Hacks. Calling hacks.
Right? No, I actually have no idea what you're saying. But I am watching this gameplay really intently.
That's fine.
What are you saying? Out of curiosity.
It seems like he is both saying I'm not willing to say that there's a link between these like reward center responses.
It's fine.
And stuff
well,
like that
there's reward. It's also probably it's all like really down root from biology. There's gonna be things like socially, like we have like conversations with people, and then like that creates societies, and that creates different influences and given individuals. It's
yeah,
really,
I know it's a whole bunch
thing.
of shit, but is it either is or it isn't? Like it seems like you're not willing to say.
It is the case that it is down root from biology. Yes, all of our societal interactions are gonna be down root from biology in that way.
Sex essentialism moment?
There is a biological correlation, is what you're saying.
It's not sex essentialism, right? It's just like acknowledging how societies are built. Like societies are built by people who have like biological influences as well as environmental influences.
Did you recently read a Philosophy of Mind Searle book by chance?
No.
Okay.
My most recent reading has been on Derek Parfit. It's pretty good. I recommend reading some Derek Parfit, some good-ass moral literature.
My most recent reading, If You Give a Pig a Pancake.
You think I...
Let's go.
I've been reading the Miss.
I'm gonna head to bed. It was a really fun chat, but it is very late for me. It's like 2:30 in the morning, and I have been screaming.
Good night, sleepy.
But Diablo 4.
It was fun chat though. It was really fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Good
Sorry
talk,
about
good
being
talk.
mean. Yeah.
Yeah,
Peace.
drink some tea. Get relaxed, dude.
Bro.
Hey,
Girl.
Bunk, I just want to say,
Hey,
we are allies in here, okay? Don't feel like we don't have your best interest in mind when we go to the ballot box and actually vote, and don't be a bunch of lazy millennials, okay? We will actually do it, and we'll support your side, okay, buddy?
Let's go. Let's go.
Swag.
Elect transgender rights for president.
There we go.
GG.
Thank you.